books I'm planning to read for an upcoming readathon in November. It's called the Skoden Readathon, and it will be happening for the entire month of November, hosted by Kim of the Native Lady Bookwear. I will link her channel and the video where she announces this readathon, as well as explains all of the prompts, in the description below. Her daughter made the lovely graphics for the readathon, and I am hoping, fingers crossed, that I will be able to fulfill all of the prompts for this readathon. Personally, I'm a big fan of audiobooks, and I plan to read a good chunk of these books via my library's Hoopla app. But to show you the covers of these books, I will pop them right over here on this side of the screen. Starting off this TBR, we have The Legend of the Skeleton Man by Joseph Bruchac, who is a member of the Nulahen Abenaki tribe and is a respected elder and storyteller in his tribe. He is the author of more than 120 books for both children and adults. The Legend of the Skeleton Man is a bind-up of two of his middle grade books, Skeleton Man and Return of the Skeleton Man. The main character of these books is Molly, whose father grew up on the Mohawk Reservation, and there he learned a number of great scary stories which he told to his daughter, her favorite being The Legend of the Skeleton Man, which is about a man with an insatiable hunger. Ever since Molly's parents have vanished, her father's spooky stories have started to feel more and more real. I don't think I ever read any of the Goosebumps books when I was growing up, but I know that R.L. Stine blurbed this book and said it gave him the chills, so I'm expecting spooky, but hopefully not too spooky because I am a wimp when it comes to that. Next we have I Can Make This Promise, which is Christine Day's debut novel. She is a member of the Upper Skagit tribe, and the story is inspired by some of her own family history. This is a contemporary middle grade book that follows our main character Eddie, who is an Indigenous girl that has been adopted by non-Indigenous parents, and recently she started to become more and more curious about her Indigenous past and her Indigenous heritage. One day she discovers a box in her parents' attic that has a number of letters signed Love Eddie and photos of a woman that look very similar to her. I expect this book will likely explore themes of reconnecting with your heritage, as well as reckoning with the separation of Indigenous children from their communities. The next book falls into the queer representation category for this readathon, and that is Elatsoe by Darcie Little Badger. This is her debut novel that came out in 2020. Darcie Little Badger is a member of the Lipan Apache tribe, and this book is set in modern-day Texas. Our protagonist is named Ellie, and she is also a member of the Lipan Apache tribe, and she is followed by her pet ghost dog that she has reanimated using techniques that her grandmother had taught her. Our main character Ellie also identifies as asexual. Kirby and Ellie are joined by their friend Jay as they work to solve the mystery of Ellie's cousin's death. There is a touch of fantasy thrown into this book, with the group confronting an enclave of vampires that is terrorizing a local town. My next book is for the unread Indigenous author category, and though Louise Erdrich is a very well-known Indigenous author, I have never actually read her, and I wanted to pick up The Future Home of a Living God by her. Louise Erdrich is a member of the Anishinaabe Nation, also known as the Chippewa Nation. This is a dystopian novel where evolution has seemingly started to reverse on itself, and women are giving birth to infants that are seemingly more and more primitive versions of humans. Our main character is 26-year-old Cedar Hawk Songmaker, who is the adopted daughter of two Minneapolis liberals. She and her family are becoming increasingly disturbed by the events happening around them, but these events have a very personal twist for our main character because she is 4 months pregnant and has not told her adoptive parents. Even though she wants to tell her adoptive parents, she is compelled to seek out her birth mother, who lives on the Ojibwe reservation, to help herself understand her child, as well as find a deeper understanding of herself. As Cedar starts to make her way back to her birth mother, society starts to crumble even more around her. The summary of this book describes it as a moving meditation on female agency, self-determination, biology, and natural rights. The next book is for the Amao book category, as the cover is blue, and that is The Seedkeeper by Diane Wilson, who is a member of the Dakota Nation. Our protagonist is Rosie Ironwing, who is raised in the woods by her father Ray, who is a former science teacher, who teaches her stories of plants and the stars and the origins of the Dakota people. However, her father Ray one day doesn't come back after checking some of his traps in the woods, and Rosalie is sent off to live with a foster family when she's told that she has no other family to take her in. The story then jumps to many years later when Rosalie is a much older woman who has been recently widowed, and she's returning to her childhood home to grieve and connect with her maternal roots. An excerpt from the summary of this book that grabbed me was, "Weaving together the voices of 4 incredible women, The Seed Keeper is a beautifully told story of reawakening, the remembering of our original relationship to the seeds, and through them to our ancestors." My next pick is one that falls into 2 of the readathon categories, one being the poetry category and the other being beyond the lower 48, meaning that the native creator is someone who is outside the 48 states. This could include Hawaii and the Pacific Islands, as well as Canada, Alaska, and South America. And that is "When the light of the world was subdued, our songs came through." This is a Norton anthology of native poetry compiled by Joy Harjo, along with LeAnne, Howe, and Jennifer Elise Foerster. Joy Harjo is a renowned performer and writer of the Muscogee Creek Nation. She has served for 3 terms as the 23rd Poet Laureate for the United States from 2019 to 2022. Her co-editors LeAnne Howe is a member of the Choctaw Nation, as well as Jennifer Elise Foerster is a member of the Muscogee Creek Nation as well. I'm actually really excited for this anthology, as it is the collected works of over 160 Indigenous poets, with over 100 Indigenous nations represented in this collection. It is also the first historically comprehensive native poetry anthology to have been created. The anthology is divided into 5 geographic regions, and each section starts with a piece from oral literature from that region and ends with emerging poets. And last but certainly not least, for my nonfiction pick, I have Indigenous American Women, Decolonization, Empowerment, Activism by Devon Mihesuah. Mihesuah is a scholar from the Choctaw tribe, and this book apparently examines the evolving identities of American Indigenous women today, their ongoing struggle against the centuries-old legacy of colonial disempowerment, and how they are seen and portrayed by themselves and others. Let me know if you're planning to join the Skoden Readathon in November, and if so, what you're planning to read in the comments. There will hopefully be a vlog coming up in November that documents the 7-day reading challenge that is part of this readathon. Again, the host Kim of Native Lady Book Warrior will be linked down below, as well as all of the books I mentioned. I think that is all from me today. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, you can give it a thumbs up, that helps, and you can also subscribe if you want to see more from me. I will see you all in my next video. Bye!